Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and today I wanted to talk to y'all about some of the best AI bookkeeping softwares out there. And so it seems like ever since like late 2022, early 2023, everyone has just been like on this AI craze. AI. What can AI do for me? What can I get out of it? How can I use it to make money, save time, build a better relationship, ask it how to build a house, like anything that you can think of. Everyone wants to talk about what AI can do. And accounting software is no different. And so here in mid to late 2025, at the time of this video, we have several different AI accounting platforms that I kind of wanted to go over today. It seems like the accounting software space typically lags behind in relation to other tech spaces, simply because I don't know about other accountants, but I don't like change. I want to see the books ran a certain way. I want to see them ran that way month over month, and then I want to close at the end of the year. And I want to do the same thing next year. Accountants are just resistant to change because that's when you can introduce mistakes, errors. And that's not necessarily a great mindset to have as an accountant, but it's just what happens. It's what's true out in the field and out in the real world. So with that, accounting softwares have been kind of slow and hesitant to introduce these changes that implement AI. But they are coming around the bend. And that today I wanted to talk a little bit about that because there are some great options out there that I think potentially a lot of folks may be missing out on. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some of the topics for today. So the first one I wanted to talk about is Puzzle. Puzzle is built with AI in mind. So a lot of these legacy accounting softwares, think QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBooks, Sage Intacct, all these kind of older platforms that have been around since the early to mid 2000s have AI as an afterthought. It's a bolt-on module. It's not like really interwoven within the code of the software. Puzzle is not like that, at least in my experience. Puzzle was built with AI at its core to help save bookkeepers time and to help ensure you get accurate financials. And so you can see here I'm on the login page for Puzzle. I've just got some fake transactions thrown in there. But what I really want to talk about is what the AI can do whenever you're running your books. And so if you integrate like your banking transaction screen, for instance, like if you go to transactions and you go down to banking credit cards, I have a couple transactions in here. When you load this up, it's going to say, okay, Microsoft. I see Microsoft. That's probably going to be software. It's an operating expense. Or here we have a utility payment. What is that going to be? It's going to be booked to my utilities expense account. I did not program this. I have only used this in a test environment, and it's already picking up things like that. And so it's really intuitive to use. Like you don't have to train it like a lot of other models. The other thing is that the AI can give you insights whenever you're within Puzzle and can kind of tell you this number is up or down month over month from last month. It's just really a AI-centric platform, and it's got a really great dashboard that's generated. You can change and kind of showcase what you want to see. And this is all put together from the AI that is tracking your bank feeds. It's implementing things like your credit card transactions. And then one other thing before we jump to the next guy is it does a really good job of helping you with close. It can suggest month-end close procedures, which I have found to be really refreshing because like competitors like QuickBooks, for instance, which we'll go over in just a minute, they don't have that option. Typically, you have to use a third party or a spreadsheet that's collaborated on. Things get deleted, things get missed. And I like that you can use Puzzle's AI-centric model to have a close checklist. It's just really refreshing, and it's something that's so small that I think is often missed. Overall, I've been really impressed with Puzzle. I really enjoy its AI features. There's way too much to talk about that I could just cover in this video because we have a lot to go over. But if you haven't considered using Puzzle, go ahead and give it a look. It's got a really neat model. The next one that I want to talk about is QuickBooks. And so, lots of folks are familiar with QuickBooks. QuickBooks really just hopped on the bandwagon with its AI like 8 weeks ago, like end of June 2025. Like it's brand new. Like they just released a pretty big update that kind of incorporates AI into the bank feed. I have mixed results having used it the last 2 months. I'm not necessarily as impressed with it as I am for like Puzzle, for instance. It does an okay job. Intuit is trying to bring it around, but like I said, it's an afterthought. It's a bolt-on to a legacy software. And so if you're looking for AI platforms, Intuit's okay, but it's not going to give you suggestions. It's not going to give you real-time financials. You're still going to need a bookkeeper, or you as a business owner are going to need to spend time coming over your books. You want to make sure that you're not just turning the AI loose, auto-coding transactions, and then ruining months and months and months worth of books. The other thing is, at least this is a personal complaint, and from the many clients that I have worked with that use QuickBooks, is they just refuse to quit raising the price. I think I've had 3 price hikes in the last 2 years, and my prices have gone up by 50% from $30 a month to $45 a month. I have one client who's paying over $1,000 a month because he runs payroll through it. It's just not getting any cheaper. And so I don't love that. Other than the banking transaction integration screen that's going to help you code transactions, I have not really seen a lot of AI-centric items in relation to QuickBooks, and so they're a little lackluster in terms of this topic. Now, if we were to talk about like what QuickBooks can do in terms of like the breadth of companies and structures I can cover, great, it does a great job there. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is for AI software manipulation and things that are going to save you or bookkeeper time. QuickBooks just doesn't really tick that box. It kind of has one functionality, even with its big update from 2 months ago. It's just not really pulling its weight, in my opinion. So on to the next guy that we're going to talk about, and that is Xero. Xero has kind of been around like QuickBooks. It's been around for a long time. And Xero is also similar to QuickBooks in that it doesn't really have robust features regarding AI. And so who is Xero for? Xero is for folks who want accounting softwares that's relatively straightforward. It's got a pretty clean interface. It's great for doing international business. It's got a pretty good, diverse breadth of reporting, similar to QuickBooks. It's around the same price point as QuickBooks and Puzzle, but once again, similar to QuickBooks, it has AI integrated into its banking transaction module screen. And that's about it. And I would even wager to say it's not necessarily AI. It's more of a rules-based learning system. So for instance, like you saw Microsoft on my Puzzle account, if I book it to Microsoft one time, it'll say software expense because maybe it thinks I'm working with Microsoft Office. But if I'm using like Azure Microsoft Dashboard to keep like my tech stack or something like that, like a database, maybe I want to code that to database warehousing expenses. Well, anytime that Xero sees Microsoft and it is learning from that rule, it's going to have a hard time differentiating because there's no unique identifier. It's not going to be able to recognize, oh, because this Microsoft transaction amount is more, that's going to be the data warehousing expense, whereas this $15 transaction is going to be the monthly Microsoft Office expense. It's not smart enough to understand that because it's rules-based. It's not really AI-centric. So once again, Xero is kind of lackluster. It is really good if you're running a small business. My complaints are that people aren't as familiar with it as they are for maybe like QuickBooks. It does a really good job of revenue management, expense management. It's going to be able to give you some pretty basic reports, simple to use. It's not too expensive. So it's an okay catch-all, but for the sake of like AI-centric platforms, it's really kind of at the bottom of the list right now. They have a long way to come, and I'm sure they'll be able to do it, but right now, the contender really still is Puzzle, with kind of like QuickBooks taking a B- or C+ approach to it. So the next one I want to talk about is Bench. Bench is one that I have not covered in the past, but I'm kind of excited to talk to everyone about because it's unique. Bench is basically a two-forked approach. It's a two-pronged approach to accounting. So let's say I'm running a very lucrative firm and I'm just not really into the administrative side of things, and I don't want to really do accounting. I don't want to hire a bookkeeper. I want someone to hand me a stack of financials every month and say, here you go, here's how your business is performing. And I'm going to look at it and say, great, my expenses are high, my revenue is low, here's the changes I'm going to make. That's Bench. Bench is for folks who don't want to think about it. And you may be thinking, well, how does AI play into this? So that two-pronged approach is Bench uses human bookkeepers or accountants. If your business is a little bit more complicated, it needs a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more experience. So they use humans to go through your bank transactions. And the folks behind the scenes are using automation AI to help code those transactions. And if you hover right here on their platform screen, it can kind of show you a little bit more what's going on. So the platform is really easy to use. It's going to use smart automation, which is going to be able to instantly book those transactions, similar to Puzzle. And you're going to hook up your bank accounts. It's going to come through it and say, all right, what do we have? And then it's going to book them to their appropriate revenue or expense accounts. And then a human is going to come back behind it and say, that's right, or hey, that's not even close to being right. That's way wrong. And then they kind of clean up, they streamline, they make sure everything's correct, and then you get your generated financial statements, which is great. There are some drawbacks though. Pretty basic reporting. It's kind of what you see is what you get. You're gonna be locked into Bench's interface. There's going to be limited customization. Now, some of the pros are it is relatively affordable when you think about what it might cost to hire a bookkeeper. I live in the United States, in the southern United States. As I mentioned earlier, I'm an accountant from Louisiana, a CPA from Louisiana. You are not going to be able to find a bookkeeper for $340 a month. You have to pay a bookkeeper $25 to $30 an hour. But that's for them to be on site, for them to be keenly aware and interwoven with your business. They're running payroll, they're paying your payroll taxes, they're doing your sales tax returns, they're tracking project costs, expenses, revenues. This is their most basic plan. And so very, very seldom are you going to find $340 is what you're going to end up paying to Bench. It's actually going to be quite a bit more in my experience. But if you have a very simple small business and you just need something to track, hey, how well am I doing? Sure, maybe you could get that $340. And so as for AI, it works with both those bookkeepers working behind the scenes to help streamline, save you costs, save them time so they can take on more clients and therefore spread their costs out and lower those costs so you can get a cheaper cost per month. It seems to do a good job. I haven't heard many complaints about Bench. But as for the AI aspect of it, it's definitely stronger than Xero. I would assume it's probably stronger than QuickBooks as well if they're really heavily relying on it. So it's a neat software out there that you should consider if you're looking for a hybrid approach. It's kind of hands-off and you want the hand-holding of a human bookkeeper, but the speed and instantaneousness of an AI bot. The last one I want to talk about today is Pilot. So Pilot is very similar to Bench in that it works in tandem. It's once again that two-phase approach where you're going to have humans behind the scenes working, and then you're also going to have them working in tandem with AI to help code those transactions that are being fed from your bank ledger. I would say Pilot differentiates itself from Bench though because one, it's primarily focused on like tech startups or startups who have high cash burn. They need to be nimble. They don't necessarily have the space or time for a finance or accounting team. And they're going to be a little bit more specialized in tax, in my opinion. And so they do have that team of bookkeepers, but they're also going to have a little bit more tax experience. It's not just going to be someone who's doing bookkeeping for the last 20 years. These folks are going to know tax code, where you can save. And that to me is how they are going to differentiate themselves from Bench. The other thing, as you can see here, it's a little bit more pricey for their services here. You will probably almost never find $169 is going to be able to cover what your business needs. Most people are probably going to start at the $500, but then like as soon as it gets anything past like a very transparent, very simple set of books, you're going to end up paying enterprise pricing, which is going to end up being a couple thousand a month, at least in my experience. Pilot's really great if you're scaling quickly and you don't have anybody on your team with accounting experience. If you need tax integrations to be able to save money at the end of the year and you've got some money to burn. But it's not really going to be for you if you're a small business that's kind of watching every dollar. And for that, I would probably recommend Puzzle, which you can get a ton of AI driven data for, I think, just $100 a month. And they even have cheaper plans for Puzzle, if I'm not mistaken. Like they have a free plan. I think one plan that's around $50 a month. And so if you're looking at Pilot, you probably have a little deeper pockets than what a typical small business who's kind of looking for an AI-centric platform may have. So anyway, that's my list for today's video. I just wanted to showcase a couple of new ones that we haven't necessarily talked about. Very impressed with Puzzles AI. QuickBooks is kind of lagging behind. Xero is way off out in the nether. Bench and Pilot are somewhere in between. It depends kind of what you want. If you want in-house books, or if you want something at your fingertips that's driven by its own AI, which would be Puzzle. There are options out there. I do recommend you do your own research and check them out, but thought this might be a fun little video walkthrough for you guys to explore some new options. Thanks for watching.